It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's right. It's ugly Christmas sweater season. And this year, I'm working with the Reformed Sage to bring you this new design based on Martin Luther's phrase, simul justus et peccator, which means at the same time justified and sinner. And as I said before, I'm working with the Reformed Sage on this one, and you can find it at reformedsage.com. Just click on the collection, and we also have some cool ornaments available as well. So just keep scrolling. You'll find the t-shirts, the shirts, sweatshirts, and I should have a link in the video description below. And today, let's see here. Today I'm going to be coloring Mr. Tumnus, which is a character from C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I did this drawing a few days ago, and I really liked it. Did the sketch, and so I inked it. And my wife actually laid in some of the flat colors, which I'm going to adjust today and finish coloring. So if you're here for the first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down there and enjoy the show. I don't know, you can say hi in the comments and ask questions. I had some really good questions last time, and you can check out that video as well, where I was finishing up inking a new RefToon. So today, let's see, I need to actually increase the brightness on my screen because I can't really see it. So I have this. He's going to be more of a pinkish color. He's cold. It's winter. Always winter and never Christmas. So Mr. Tumnus is a faun. He's a mythical creature who has like a human body and head. He's got like goat ears, horns, and a tail with like goat legs and stuff. My first encounter. Well, first let me ask, what was your first encounter with Mr. Tumnus? When did you first read? Have you read the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? And if so, when was the first time you read it? And so the first time I read the Chronicles of Narnia was I was married. Oh. I forgot to show you guys the ugly Christmas sweater. So that's the one this is the one we're doing. The one I collaborated with the Reformed Sage on. So you can get that. I have the link in the comments. But anyways, Mr. Tumnus. The first time that I think I ever read any of the Chronicles of Narnia was after I was married. I think I rented them from the library or something, and read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe first, and I loved it. But actually, before I ever even read the book, I watched the old Focus on the Family movies. With the animatronic Aslan, and I think it was Angelica Houston as the White Witch. That was my first encounter with Narnia, and I always loved watching those movies. We had the three movie set of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Silver Chair, and what's the other one? Oh, Prince Caspian. And I think Prince Caspian was mixed in with the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And Stephanie is watching. That's my wife. She says her first encounter with Narnia was with the old Focus on the Family cartoon. It scared me so bad I didn't read the books until I was persuaded to in college. And so it was the cartoon, not the live action one. I remember a cartoon. I don't think I ever actually saw the cartoon. I always saw commercials for the cartoon, but I don't think I ever actually saw the actual cartoon. We used to have VHS tapes where we would tape Disney Channel shows and watch them on there. But I don't think I ever never saw the cartoon. I only saw the ads for it. And these are actually when I was drawing this, I drew it out of my head without looking at a description of him. And I originally drew it as I originally drew him with no horns, a shorter tail, and this box was just like a gift, a present. And then I looked at the book to refresh my memory before continuing on it, and realized that he had his tail coming up over his arm. And actually he's supposed to have an umbrella, but I didn't want to necessarily have to rework his arms in order to do that. I tried doing an umbrella, but it didn't work with this position. So I would have to redraw that somehow. So, artistic license, I took out the umbrella. Oh, Stephanie says, yes, there was a cartoon. Maybe it wasn't focused on the family, but it was certainly a Narnia cartoon. Yeah. I remember seeing the commercials for that. And I was not very impressed by the animation that I saw. But I still remember wanting to see it. So, also I was reading today that his hair was supposed to be black. But that doesn't really translate very well here. So I'll just make it dark. And then when I go in, I will add some highlights to it. And I'll make his tail the same color as his ears. This lamppost needs to be like a charcoal gray color. And this can be just a brighter yellow. Okay, so and I actually do something like that for the background. Make that darker grayish blue. And then just to distinguish the snow, do this, but I'm going to add an effect to it at the end once I do the once I do the highlights and the shadows. I'll lay in something else here. So now this lamp is where my light source is going to be. So I'm just going to quick sketch in. Grab a different brush here. Basic. Just grab one of these brushes. Grab that one. And just with turn the opacity down. Now this is just a sketch for my own notes to see what I should do for the lighting here. And I'm gonna go, whoops. Oh, I guess that's it's coming from behind him here. Just need to think of everything that the light is going to touch here. And then some of the stuff I'm gonna actually make up. You like the lighting? I learned a little bit of lighting from one of those SVS Learn classes. I learned this trick to figure out where all your lighting is going to hit, and then also where all your shadows are going to hit. So I'll need to do that as well. And I will grab like a just dark color here. Well, actually, I'll use black. So if the light's coming from behind, everything in front is going to be darker. But I don't necessarily want that. So what I could do is I could contrast that with the moonlight. So I could say we could pretend that there's some moonlight coming over from this side. Let me get the right color here. So faint moonlight there. That way, our shadowing which is kind of what they do in the movie when they light this scene. They kind of have the lamp post, but that's not the only light. They also have moonlight. So we're gonna have that. This is all, there's like no light going down here because of him holding what he's holding here. And then underneath his chin there's going to be very little light, and I'll use like a blue shadow for that part. So this is all just to give me an idea of what to do here. And I don't know. Okay. So there we go. So now we begin. I'm going to do this purpley color. I'm going to set this to a multiply layer. I'm going to use my Pilgrim's Progress brush. Set that to 50. So, Mr. Tumnus I've always enjoyed this character. I don't know why. Maybe because he's so fantastical looking. Just a person with a goat half of a body. I think my favorite book in the whole Narnia series is The Horse and His Boy. That one, excuse me, that one is just, I don't know, I like the fact that it's set in Narnia and that nobody from our world travels to Narnia in that book. It's actually just kind of a world developing story. here I'm just creating the shadows where I think the shadows would be or should be. There we go. Yeah. Who's your favorite character in the Narnia series? Not sure who my favorite character is. I like Mr. Tumnus. I think Mr. Beaver is pretty cool. Aslan, Stephanie says, of course. Aslan is great. He's not safe, but he's good. And Mr. Beaver. I think Mrs. Beaver is kind of funny. Doesn't she start to think that she should be packing up her sewing machine when they're getting ready to leave and hide out from the wolves? I think a lot of the dialogue that Lewis adds into these stories is really good. I think he does quite well with dialogue, which is sometimes a really hard thing to write. It's hard to make something sound natural. People talking, fictional characters talking. It's hard to make that feel natural. Alright, so I've got that main shadow laid in. And now I'm going to lay in some lighting here. Except I need to do that on a separate layer because I have that set to multiply, and when it's on multiply it's not going to show me the lighter colors. So it's kind of a yellowish light, so I'm going to have this yellow highlight to it, but I'm going to turn the opacity down on my brush so that it doesn't give us the harshness of that yellow right away, and let it build up. just have to think about everywhere the light is going to touch. So, if you've read all of the Narnia books, what is your favorite book of all the Narnia books? I already said mine is The Horse and His Boy. There's some really cool word pictures painted about Aslan in that one. And not just word pictures, but even just like examples of Aslan showing up, pushing someone towards where he wants them to go. Shasta is the main character. Aslan shows up and kind of chases him down. Then later on we find out that though Shasta thought it was just a wild lion chasing him, it was actually Aslan. And that's really cool. Okay, we've got this blue moonlight over here, so we're gonna bring this side a little bit more blue. Then we'll do a lighter blue for this inside part on his nose. And then maybe like a white on top of that. Maybe that's too bright. But I'm also going to do this darker shadow here. So I'm going to grab this color. I'm going to color over this because I feel like I got a little too dark right there. Didn't want it to get that dark. So now it's starting to look a little muddy. So I'm just erase that off the teeth as well. So, working on getting the highlights on him. There's kind of two light sources coming at him. We've got kind of some moonlight coming in from here towards the kind of highlighting in the front of him. And then we also have the lamppost bringing in a warmer light from behind. So I'm just kind of working through both of those sources of light, figuring out how they're going to fall onto Mr. Tumnus. And so I'm playing with different yellows and different blues. I'm using a sort of a gouache style brush. Gouache is a type of paint that is kind of thick and leaves some really cool texture. And some more of these shadows here. And get this little bit on his nose shadowed, just because that's going to have a lot more shadow because it juts out more than any other feature on his face. Maybe under his eyebrows is going to be a little darker. But then I'm also going to put a little bit of a shadow underneath on his lip. Here. And I'll give him like a reflected light there. Maybe it's catching some of that yellow from the lamppost. Turn up my brush. I'm going to get this blue a little more white-ish blue. And do the edge of his face here. Then we can turn the opacity down so that I don't get too much, and I'm going to give him a slight highlight here as well. And up here. Right there. Just slight. And then I'll grab some of this yellow, bring that in over here. In the world. I'd like a coyote or something. Or a dog, or cat howling or yowling or something. Unless it was a siren on something. I wonder if Stephanie heard it. So I'm going to zoom out, going to look at it from afar and figure out if I'm doing things right. I like how it's going so far. I think I'm actually going to grab another layer, do a kind of an overlay with that lighter blue, but okay, the opacity is down. You thought Burl was crying. You know you're making sure our doors are locked. Yes, good idea. That was weird. It was like a I'm just lightly going over his face with this blue just to see what that does. That gives it a nice little glow to it. And then try to do the same in the back with the yellow light. Just kind of brush it over him a bit. And actually I see where I can add a harder light to him down here. Excuse me. So now I'm going to go in and make a darker shadow here. Bring that darker, actually. And here we go. Yeah, I've always wanted to draw this character, but I never actually have drawn him before. But I got a request the other day through the live drawing video. Someone requested Mr. Tumnus, and I was happy to be able to draw him. I don't think I would have thought to draw him if someone hadn't recommended it or requested it from that live drawing video. So that was fun. And now I just want to draw more of these characters. So if I ever do another sketch request to live draw, you guys need to request some book characters. that might be a little too much there. So I'm gonna bring it down a bit back to this color. I need to do that just so I can see the snow here, because I'm going to do something. There we go. Ellie Yuen, hello! You love Mr. Tumnus. That's cool. Welcome to the studio hangout. Who's your favorite? Is Mr. Tumnus your favorite character in Narnia? Or do you have a different character who's your favorite? I like Mr. Tumnus. I like Mr. Beaver. And Mrs. Beaver is pretty funny too. I like Puddleglum. I think he's my all-time favorite character. He's from The Silver Chair. I completely forgot about Puddleglum. Oh, and just as a reminder for anybody who's just now joining us, you can check subscribe to the RefToons channel for more live hangouts and stuff, and probably some other cool videos like drawing tutorials and stuff like that. Oh, so Mr. Tumnus is your favorite. That's cool. Well, you joined the right video then. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to lay in some more color on his legs here. I'm going to turn my opacity down here. Yes, the Christmas spirit. And I do have my Christmas sweater available at the reformedsage.com. Reformed Sage, not the Reformed Sage. reformedsage.com. The link is in the description of this video. Yeah, so I partnered with him again this year. And we're offering this new design as well as the one from last year. Oh, where'd my colors go? The one book I don't remember very well in the series is The Last Battle. Don't remember if I actually even finished reading it. I remember the beginning, there's like some sort of ape in a lion costume, or a donkey, an ape, and who puts a donkey in a lion skin costume, kind of like as a false prophet or like an antichrist type of thing. What program am I using? I am using Affinity Photo. So Affinity Photo 1.7.2 to be exact. And it's, if you haven't heard of Affinity, it's like it's like a Photoshop alternative that has 0 monthly payments. It doesn't have like a subscription. It's just like a one-time purchase. You purchase the program and then you can use it forever. It's yours. So that's why I use this instead of Photoshop, because I don't want to pay a subscription. And it works great. I love it. Ooh, and then so the snow is going to be reflecting light onto him as well. There's so many different light sources that can be had, especially on this one. So yeah, Affinity, it's a really good program. It has a really good brush engine. You can change a lot of the different things on your brushes: accumulation, hardness, dynamics, flow. It's really good. I like it. all these spots here. Make sure. So like any spot that has a little tension in it is gonna have like a brighter shine to it than other parts. So there's Tumnus. He needs a shadow, doesn't he? So we're gonna do something like this. Create a shadow. We need a soft color here. We don't need our opacity that high. So if this is coming this way, it's going to cast a shadow of him kind of this way, but the moon is also a conflicting light source. So that just gets confusing. So I'm just going to kind of do like a zigzag type shadow like this. And I'm just going to improvise how I think it might end up. So it's going to be darker the closer it is to him, no matter where the light is coming from. And let's see here. And if you look at snow, it's actually not. It's not actually going to be white. Because all the shadows, everything's going to make it. It's actually going to be more of a gray color than anything. But we make it white, and I'm actually... Let's see what this does. If I bring that down to a more gray. There we go. Okay, so I made the snow gray, and that gives it more of a nighttime feel to it. And it's actually going to turn out to be a little more true than if I were to start out with the snow being white, because this then allows me to add white to the snow in order to make it really pop. So you do this, and you might see what I mean here. So if I add white, it's going to make the snow stand out better in those spots. But I'm going to turn that up. So, and then it'll give the illusion that the whole thing is, that it's actually white. So when you're painting, you have to be mindful that things aren't always what they seem. And I learned this when I was in my painting class with an amazing painting professor. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with 100% white. Actually, turn that down a little bit. We'll go like that. Yeah, actually. Go over the whole thing with a light wash of white. Blue, and then yellow. There we go. Then I can go into the line art and to make that really add to the snow by making these kind of a bluish tint. Oops. Make sure I only get those lines. And actually in here, since it's a darker area, I'm going to make these a little darker so they stand out more. Then go back to my lighter color here. Do all of these. And actually I could probably make those more of a grayish yellow color. Oh, I'll keep it like that. Then once we're done, we can add some snow coming down. Be a nice effect. So the lamp post is going to be a little more difficult here. We've got, I think what I'm going to do first is figure out where the highlights are going to be. Then I'm going to go in with the shadows. So right away, brightest part of it is going to be right over in here, on these edges here where the light is directly hitting. And then underneath that is going to be in shadow. Except for maybe a slight line on there. Maybe something there. And go into this. The same art professor also told us never to use black for shadows because it just muddies everything. So I try to use blues and purples for my shadows when I'm doing stuff like this. Oops. So I'm going to do a slight highlight on these things, but then most of it's going to be directly in shadow here. I'm going to we'll do more of an orange in there. And then we'll do like a white inside here. Oh, see how that changes the image once you take that away? It totally changes it. So, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to make this more of a painted image here. Oops. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm just going to blend that into there. now we can use this and we can add our moonlighting to that. See how that changes the image as well? So we're gonna add a bit of moonlight here. But I'm gonna turn that down. That's too much for me. Ah! What happened? Okay. So this kind of goes over like this, and it's going to kind of intersect with our with our warmer light coming from the lamppost. But I'm going to turn the opacity down on this one quite a bit, because the moon's not going to be as intense as the light behind him is going to be. And I just need to look at this. Okay, so now I'm going to do a mask on this layer. I'm going to draw over that with yellow. We'll do that at 10 opacity. I'm just going to start right in the middle here and work my way out. Okay, and I'm seeing already that that's going to be too solid so far, so I'm going to continue to build up this lighting here. I'm going to overlap the snow like that. And then it's going to come up like this. And again, one more layer. And then again. I'm just going to keep doing that so that this lighting builds up towards the center of the lamp, where the lamp is coming into the picture here. Just so that the most intense part gets right there. And I'm gonna even expand the opacity to be alright, so that's the most intense part of the lighting in this drawing. And then I'm going to build it out. And turn the opacity down and just bring it out more this way. And I might use this as like background lighting for something more intense right here. And then white is going to be our most intense light. So there. This is kind of muddy down here by his feet, so I'm gonna try and unmuddy that a little bit. I think that works. But I'm colorblind, so who knows what I'm doing. These could be the completely wrong colors. I could be doing this wrong. Please let me know if I'm doing this wrong. And we're going to grab this and just move it up a little bit so that it's not touching the white right there. And I think I'm gonna call this one done. Ooh. Let me turn off this gray background. Let's look at the image as a whole. And I'm going to, oops. Oh, it's already like that, okay. So there we have it. Mr. Tumnus from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. As Lucy Pevensey meets him in the forest as she goes into the wardrobe, this is what she sees. Alright, I just want to thank you guys for watching. I'll do more videos like this. I enjoy doing it. I'm sitting here drawing these things anyway, so why not share the process with you guys. And thanks for keeping me company in the comments. And get the Christmas sweater at reformedsage.com. The link is in the description of this video, and I guess I'll see you next time. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to subscribe to the RefToons channel for more videos like this. So thanks, and